Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Paul is the couch. Paul is the couch. Look at me. I'm Paul now. Oh, yeah. How's it going, guys? Hello, hello. Welcome. Good evening, good afternoon. All of that jazz. How are you doing? Paul, talk about talking. Talking is the single most important development that human beings and their ancestors went through. The ability to communicate massive amounts of information verbally with other members of your species and to codify the entire knowledge of your species so that future species might find and learn from it. If Brett replaced Paul as the fourth Drunken Peasants, the Drunken Peasants would have still been here. You're right, dude. He would have been the glue. He would have been the Fonzie character that the show needed. Coolsville Paul is dead. Dead. No, I'm pretty sure it's just a hairstyle and a pair of sunglasses away, my friend. Mine at DFF themed Doom 2 map. Would you play it? A DFF themed Doom 2 map? Sure. Why not? I saw a flock of demons carrying a man away and did not tell God on them because they asked me not to. I am now very wealthy. Damn, ugly cunt. I didn't know you were like deal with the devil wealthy. Omae wa mo shinderu. I just cracked a fucking tooth. Oh. Sounds like your day is shit. Why do you and TJ drink out of mason jars? Because they make really good cups. I don't know. They're much better for drinking out of than storing shit in. Did you enjoy drunk TJ fucking with you last night while you were gaming? Yeah. It was fun. The first time he fucked with me, I was doing really, really poorly. And the second time he came in, I was doing really, really well. Both times. As soon as I heard that TJ was drinking, I was like, yep, there's going to be some shrapnel. That's okay, though. Me and him ended up sitting and watching most of Demon Night after he ended the stream last night. You guys should deep fat fried Britain. There's loads of stuff to hate about us. Yeah. Have you ever played the Mad Max game, Paul? Bit tedious, but pretty damn enjoy. I own it. I have not played it yet. I'm interested. It looks cool. Open world Mad Max shit. Sounds good to me. Let's play Heroes of the Storm. I'm on your friends list. I don't want to play Heroes of the Storm right now. Do you like Zelda games? Yeah. I like the earlier Zelda games. The first, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Once they went 3D, I kind of fell out of touch with them, so I haven't played a lot of the really standard 3D ones. Majora's Mask is an exception. I played through that. Forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. Make those thoughts of tism float away without a care. A Mad Max game. When did that come out? I think it's been out for a couple years. I won't have any information to share with you guys about the mediation, so just stay tuned. When I know what you guys can know, you guys will know it. But right now, you know as much as I know. So. Yeah, I never played Ocarina of Time. I've watched playthroughs of it and stuff. So, but I never played through it. I never had a fucking N64 back in the day. So, what could I do? I remember one time you talked shit on Brett for talking with a lung full of vape clouds. Are you a hypocrite, or have you changed your mind on the matter? Uh, I guess I've changed my mind on the matter. It does sound awful when you speak through a lung full of vape clouds. I'm sure it happens to me every once in a while, but I try and vape and then exhale and then talk. But sometimes you get a thought mid vape. Wind Waker, best Zelda game. Yeah, I played Wind Waker as well. Who is you ever DFF Brett Keane, or did feeding the manatee die with DP? What? I don't want to feed the manatee anymore. I don't even want to talk and think about the manatee anymore. I've said everything I have to say about the fucking manatee, yo. Do you like One Punch Man? Yeah, I like One Punch Man. Just kidding, I've never seen it. The manatee is trying to bait you guys. I wouldn't know if you idiots didn't help keep bringing the chunks of bait. Like I would know nothing about what Brett's up to if not for people fucking constantly updating me on what Brett's up to. I watched a Brett video. I mean, I'm living a Brett-free life, my friends. You should try too. Hey, Paul, do you think you will do a DFF on Napoleon Bonaparte? Possible. Totally possible. With no DP to cover him, Brett is dead. I mean, Brett's been dead for a while. We've been beating the dead manatee for a long time. Now he's just forgotten as well as dead. DFF on Napoleon Dynamite. What? Is this Battletoads? Yes. Yep, this is Battletoads, dude. The stream starts off easy enough. We're just beating the shit out of some pigs right now. But pretty soon, we get to the fucking speeder level. And then, well, who knows? A lot of fucking streams never make it past the speeder level, dude. We'll see how this one does. You're the fat fuck that got us addicted on Manatee. DFF Admiral Nelson. Okay. Paul is so generous with the bubbles. Yeah, I mean, bubbles for all, right? I'm not going to read any mangas, dude, but thanks for the tip. Paul, do your fat folds have a delay when you move? Like when I start going forward, do they start moving forward? Like probably, it's probably like an imperceptible delay. But there probably is, like if I start moving real quick, there probably is, it probably takes a little second for my fat rolls to catch up, you know what I mean? Don't you find it interesting that hundreds of people are willing to follow your every word on a daily basis? I don't think anybody's following my word. I think that people like hanging out in a chill environment. And so a few hundred of them come by and check me out. And I'm happy with that. Praise Paul. Yeah, a lot of people just listen, I think. A lot of people just tune in and listen while they're playing some horrible, tedious game. Are you really going to do the bubbles every stream now? I mean, what do you think? I was fucking lying? Do you think I'm a liar now? Is that what you think? Bubbles are here to stay, my friend. They help. They really do. What was I playing last night? I was playing Heroes of the Storm when TJ was fucking with me. Then I played a little bit of Subnautica. The bubbles will wash away our sins. The bubbles! The bubbles! You're welcome, Amy. Happy to cure your tism. Is Elite Dangerous hard to get into? I'm thinking of buying it for my VR. Yes. I wouldn't even really I mean, you can play Elite Dangerous with a keyboard and mouse, but if you're going to do the VR thing, you need to get like a flight stick and a throttle and all that shit. Maybe even pedals if you want to get real crazy with it, but you can just do it with a flight stick and throttle. It's not an easy game to get into, but it's a rewarding game to get into. Once you kind of learn the basics of how to move and how to pilot your ship and all that stuff, it becomes a pretty awesome game. But it ain't easy. I like the bubbles, but do you have any other effects that you can float around on the screen? No, I don't. Just bubbles, man. I've only been playing Subnautica for a couple of days. I've only got like 3 or 4 hours into it, maybe. But, I don't know. I just constructed my first little base. So I'm starting to move my shit out of the escape pod. I don't know. I'm not very far. I know that. You've got over 200 hours in Subnautica. Damn. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I just started, so... Have you tried out Monster Hunter World yet? No. I want to, but I have not. Cinema versus Futabu. You can't watch it beforehand. I want to see how you react to it. Futabu? Is it on fucking... If it's on YouTube, then there's a possibility we can do it. But I have to take some kind of a look at a movie before we decide to do it on Cynics versus Cinema. I mean, I don't have to watch the whole goddamn thing, but I gotta look at 10 or 15 minutes of it and make sure it's worth riffing on. I got Subnautica. I don't know if somebody gifted it to me, or I think I might have gotten it as part of like one of the Humble bundles I bought. It was like an indie Humble bundle or something, and it was when it was first, and I never played it until recently. I saw it, I was going through my list of Steam games to see if there was something that was kind of chill, and Subnautica's not super chill, but it's definitely got its moments. I don't really play Overwatch anymore now. I kind of lost interest. What do you think about Kurt Cobain's thought on female oppression? Do you think women are oppressed? Do you think he'd be considered an SJW? Oh, yeah, dude. No doubt. Anybody that thinks that women have a tough road to hoe socially and haven't fully, achieved equal rights. Now, I don't know how Kurt would have answered those questions today. I don't know how his positions might have evolved, but feminism was a very different thing in the 90s. It was just starting to show its SJW underbelly, and it was kind of a counterculture thing to be involved in. So, whether or not Kurt Cobain would be okay with 2018 feminism is something that we'll all have to muse about. I've seen Society. TJ and I actually watched Society together, and I meant to do a review of it during Halloween, but never got around to filming that one. Got lost in the fucking Hellraiser review. I've seen Soaked in Bleach, yes. Have you ever gotten speed fucked by a giraffe? Nope. Nope, never been down that road. Now it's counterculture to not be in feminism. Well, that's how counterculture works. It exists long enough to become mainstream, and then everybody that was once part of it bolts for the hills looking for something else that's counterculture, and it becomes mainstream culture. So, like I said, there's a good chance that Kurt would have very different feelings about women and the women's movement, at least as it exists in 2018, with regards to third wave feminism and all of that. Glad you finally gave Rick and Morty a fair chance, despite some cancerous fans. It's actually a brilliant show. You need to watch season 3. Okay. Well, like I said, I'm sold on it. I don't need to be sold on it anymore. I'm not going to watch it voraciously. It's just not the type of show that I think I could marathon, but I'll watch an episode here and there when I'm bored, and that'll be that. Fucking kill yourself, faggot. Paul, why don't you like yourself? Paul, why don't you like yourself? What is that? Paul, what movies are you gonna take on with TJ in the future? Fun streams. We've got a long list. He and I chewed through a bunch of shitty, kind of abandoned films that are up on YouTube. Either abandoned or indie, so indie that they never got like an actual release indie, huge, and we've got a lot of them. We just finished one up, and we did Enter the Fat Dragon. I think the next one on the list is called Freaked, but I'm not sure. It's on YouTube. Freaked. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one we're watching. What's up, Tommy? Would you consider doing virtual reality gaming? It seriously will give you a new love for gaming again. It's very immersive, especially the horror game. I don't know if I could handle the VR horror bullshit. What's the strangest type of meat you have ever eaten? I had rattlesnake chili once. I know that's not incredibly weird, but it's a meat not a lot of people have eaten, probably. It was good. Tasted kind of chickenish. I have a bunch of old 70s movies that are not so well known. I'll send you some names. Where can I send them? Send them, I don't know, tweet at me on Cinema for Cynics, something like that. Or on Paul's Ego. I check both of those regularly, so. This camera angle is unnerving. It's like you've abducted me and I've woken up in your basement and I'm just becoming aware of my asshole tingling. Yeah. It rubs the lotion on its skin. I pick this angle for a reason. Okay? I don't give you a pleasing angle of me because that's not what this show's about, okay? Give you this angle because I want you to feel that way. I want you to feel like I'm staring down at you shivering at the bottom of a well in my basement, Hotline Miami's a great game. I've never played the second one, but the first one I had a great time with. Makes sense. Yeah, see? The more you talk about the bubbles and ask about the bubbles, the more streams I'm going to do with the bubbles. You might as well just accept the bubbles. Thoughts on incels? I'm not 100% sure I fully understand the whole philosophy behind incels. Like, it's involuntary celibacy, right? So they're people that feel like they want to be out there fucking and having like physical relationships with people, but due to factors that are beyond their control, they cannot do that. And I would question every one of those factors. So if there's a dude that's sitting there and he's a nerd and he's kind of antisocial and not so great with women, but he's also a fat dude, then I would say that he has some control over that and that he could lose weight and become more attractive to women. I'd also say that he has control over learning how to be more sociable, learning how to talk to people more productively. So I don't really buy this idea that they're totally involuntarily celibate. A lot of them, in fact, all of them know the reasons why they're celibate. And a lot of them have control over those things. Learned helplessness. There's a lot of parallels for sure. It's reaching a point where they're acknowledging that it would be pretty difficult for them to develop personality traits and physical features and stuff that would be appealing to women. Not only that, but just positions in life that would be appealing to women. And they're saying, well, instead of going through the hard work of achieving those things, I'm just going to say, this is the way I am. This is always the way I'll be. And, you know, women should be obligated to fuck me, which is ridiculous. So Paul is MGTOW? What? How do you get MGTOW vibes from what I just said? The only position in life I'm interested in is the other side of my couch. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm a virgin and not so sociable, but I try to throw myself out there even if I don't like it, and that'll eventually lead to you getting pussy. It's the people that never try that never get pussy. And granted, dude, there's some guys out there that have a really uphill battle. If you don't have some kind of, like, for me, if I looked the way I look, plus had a shitty personality, I'd never get laid. By the grace of my fucking, ability to make people laugh alone, have I put my penis in a woman. And I understand that. But I also understood that that's what made me appealing. That's the angle that I have. And I was able to develop that and, use it. Your personality is garbage. I'm attractive and smart, but socially awkward. What could I do? I can be funny, but I can't be funny sometimes in front of people because I get nervous. Don't worry about being funny. I wouldn't say that being funny is something that you want to necessarily chase. I would say focus more on being attentive. A lot of conversations can come. People like especially early on, if you're on a first date. People in general like questions that lead to conversations about their experiences. So show that you're interested. And if you see the opportunity to be funny, go ahead and do it. But don't. You can't crack a joke every 5 fucking seconds. You got to talk like a normal human being and kind of lift the funniness out of things as you can. Paul, have you ever tried to give an awkward friend advice about women and see them piss it away? Oh, well, I mean, most people don't take advice. And that's just the truth. Most people at the end of the day, they might value advice, but most people go their own way at the end of the day. So I'm not like I don't ask you guys to ask me for advice. And I'm not typically in the advice giving business. I don't like doing it actually. I don't like I just don't like involving myself in people's lives that way, whether it's casual or not. When I get depressed, I don't want to socialize. Never had that much trouble getting laid, though it's been a while getting older and fatter. Uh-oh, dude. Uh-oh. Say to the girl, I believe you are what you eat, and by tomorrow I want to be you. Yeah, that'll definitely land you a bunch of broads. I want to eat your pussy. How about it? I mean, maybe that would. Look, there's probably a handful of women out there for which that is the pickup line. But they're few and far between, and the chances the one you're walking up to is one of those probably pretty slim. But who knows, dude? No, yeah, see. Tommy just unzips his pants. Well, yeah, not all of us have got a big old palooza though, Tommy. Not all of us have got that, man. Not all of us have that shit in the bag. The key really is to not give a shit and be yourself. Humor and organic conversation will come easier that way. It won't work with all women, but it's the best approach. Yeah, you can't go in expecting victory all the time. Sometimes you like somebody and you approach them and maybe even get to know them a little bit better, and one or both of you realizes that it's just not there. You know what I mean? There's a layer beyond physical attraction. If you're talking about dating somebody, if you're just looking to get laid, I'm not the guy to ask for that advice. I've never had a one night stand in my life, so I got zero. I got zero stories about that. I got zero fucking. There is no C4C merch, but maybe soon. Who knows? We'll see. From lack of opportunity or just lack of desire? What? Oh, you're talking about like one night stand things? Total lack of desire. Believe it or not, and I'm not bragging or anything. I'm not going to tell you that I've been chased, had pussy just everywhere around me, chasing me everywhere. But I've been propositioned for one night stand activities with chicks that were pretty hot. And I've never done it. I've never gone through with it. It's just not something I'm personally interested in. For me, like, sex is a personal thing. I just I want to get to know a person before I take that fucking step with them. And I don't push that belief on other people. I know there's a lot of people out there that are fine with that kind of like casualness in sex, and I definitely don't judge them for that. It's just a personal thing. Are you unwilling to have casual sex? I never have. I mean, I hesitate to say that I'm unwilling, but I just never have. You could lose a leg in exchange for a magic penis that can make anyone orgasm. Would you do it? No. I wouldn't want to be a one-legged dude with a magic penis. Thank you. That I'll pass on that one. So, do you think you'll do mushrooms again soon? Probably not. Why are you guys always drinking milk? I'm not drinking milk. This is a lemonade or something. Mm. Bit of the old Morocco plus, eh? Bit of the old Morocco, eh? Yeah, the old Morocco plus, eh? Eh? Paul, I wasn't surprised when you beat TJ's ass in the weight loss contest. Oh, okay. Fair enough. What film are you looking forward to this year, Paul? Um, I'll be honest with you. As far as like movies that are coming out, I try and keep up with the trailers, and it looks pretty dismal going into this year. I haven't seen a whole lot of. I don't know. There's not a lot that I'm excited about this year. Maybe I'll get a better idea as more trailers start to drop over the next, few months. But Black Panther, who gives a fuck about Black Panther? I'm just kind of getting done with superhero movies, I think. I'm starting to get that superhero movie fatigue. It's really starting to set in. I noticed it when I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I only recently watched for the first time. And yeah, it was a good movie and blah blah blah. It was funny. But it was just another fucking. It was just another fucking superhero flick. I don't know. I'm just starting to get fatigue. There's so many of them out now, and I guess I'm glad that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is drawing to a close. I mean, I know it's not going to end. It's just going to move in a new direction. But I'm getting kind of fatigued with those characters. I'm kind of losing interest in the whole genre, honestly. I feel like it's just been nothing but that type of shit. Pacific Rim 2, maybe. I don't know. I liked the first one. The chances of it being as good as the first one are pretty slim, given sequelitis. So I'd say, whatever. It'll probably be 60% as good as Pacific Rim 1. There's an off chance that it's total unwatchable dog shit. Either way, how am I going to get excited about that? What do you think of the It sequel coming out in 2019? Do you think it'll be better than the last one? I don't know. I guess maybe there's a chance that once we've seen the second one and once the two movies are complete and we get to see the childhood scenes and the adult scenes and we can watch them back to back, maybe the film will take on a different character. I don't know. I'm not super excited about the It franchise given the last film. Guys, quit with the fucking caps and shit to get my. I need to stop rewarding people for doing stupid shit like that. Caps and fucking clap emojis and point emojis and shit. Like, I know you're just manipulating me socially, but I don't like it. Quit manipulating me. Quit using cues and stuff. Quit being the intelligent ones in my audience and highlighting your comments. Why are all the movies from like 2003 on quite shit? I mean, I wouldn't say all the movies from 2003 on, but I think we've been in kind of a slump as far as new, fresh, creative ideas are concerned. Now, that being said, I saw a movie that I ended up quite liking tonight. I'll be doing a review on it out on Cinema for Cynics in the next couple of days. So we're starting to see, like, I've been to the movies, and I've been surprised at the amount of films that I've seen that I really enjoyed. So yeah, The Shape of Water, yes. Went and saw that with Ashley and Chelsea tonight. Do you ever criticize TJ privately? We criticize each other all the time. Like, it's a constant stream of criticism, joking and non-joking. Like, you and TJ ever fight privately? We've never really argued too harshly about anything. At least if we did, nothing memorable. One thing that I've noticed about you is that you're too critical, Paul. Yeah, I'll cop to that. Look here, I'm an attention whore. Ha! You got me. Paul, how do you feel about Deep Fat Fried so far? So far, I'm pretty happy with it. One of the things that as a performer you're always looking forward to is when everything kind of settles and gels together, and it takes a while to build that for a show, especially one is so different from the one I did previously. So it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes episodes. Is DFF scripted? Not at all. Thoughts on the altered perspective, Paul? I'm glad Ben's doing something, and I wish him the best of luck, him and Billy and everybody else on the show. Evan and I'm forgetting who else is doing, Pimp Monk. I wish him the best of luck. Truly, truly. Finally able to watch you live, Paul. Doing Lyft keeps fucking that up. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could just put me on your fucking Lyft radio, but people would probably get pissed off about that. Performer? Is Pimp Monk gay? I'm pretty sure he's not. I'm pretty sure I have seen evidence that Pimp Monk is indeed a straight man. I'm not gonna answer your stupid "how do I talk to women" question. I moved on from that topic. That was like 3 topics ago. You got to catch up. Quit fucking repasting it. I didn't see Ben and Billy stuck in an elevator, but I heard about it, and it's pretty funny. I know the elevator that they were in too. It's in the building that I lived in, so like, I know that elevator is a nightmare. They were in it for over an hour, and Billy had to pee in his bottle. Damn, dude, he had to pee in his bottle. That's lame. You play Overwatch? No, not anymore. I had DP playing last week and creeped the fuck out of my passenger. Yeah, I'm sure it's not really like crowd pleaser shit. You know what I mean? A certain kind of degenerate is what is needed. Billy was worried people would not be able to lift him out of the elevator. He thought he was going to have to get, like, evac'd from the elevator. Yeah, subscribe to Highdeology. Yeah, I'm gonna make a spin-off channel to Highdeology called Highdeology, and it's just gonna be this, but without the bubbles. Lowdiology, yeah, that would be. I'd actually probably use that one every once in a while. What's been your favorite DFF thus far? Um, I think the one that I had the most fun with was the cigarettes and what's his fucking name? Steven Seagal. Tim Allen one was fun too. It's just because I love ripping on things that I hate. Is there any chance you would consider numbering these streams? Why? What's the point? There's no narrative. There's no cohesive narrative between these things. So, what would be the point of numbering them or separating them out into seasons? I know there are people that come back and listen to these, but I don't really make these with those people in mind. I've considered turning off like archiving of these because I really don't consider them. I don't know. I just don't consider people actually watching them outside of being here for the live experience. Do you have a favorite character type to play in theater? I was always cast typed into comedic roles. I liked playing Oscar Madison in The Odd Couple. It's one of my favorite roles. Um, I liked Shakespearean roles a lot. I did Sir Toby Belch in Twelfth Night a couple of times. I did Caliban, The Tempest. I never got cast as Falstad. Always wanted to. Or Falstaff, sorry. Not Falstad. Falstad's something from a video game. Falstaff. Any thoughts on Boss Baby being nominated for an Oscar while animated movies having actual quality and intelligence didn't? I think that like Hollywood in general, especially the people that run the Oscars, hate um, animated features because they see in animation the death of their industry and the creation of a new industry. They know that inexorably time is marching ever closer to the point where you don't need actors anymore. You can create them synthetically to be and do whatever you want. And that, this medium of entertainment, while it's been popular for the last, however many years, is going to go the way of the radio or, you know, early television, or plays, theater, opera. All of these things have had their time as the entertainment of choice, and all of them have come and gone, and movies are no different. So they see in animated features the death of their business, and so they want to take something like The Boss Baby and hold it up as like, here's the finest example of all the shit that's coming out of these animated blah 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 blah. It makes total sense to me that they would ignore other animated features with actual merit and put something completely devoid of merit like The Boss Baby up. CGI is the future. I mean, when it reaches the point that I'm talking about, it won't even be CGI anymore. I mean, I guess it technically will be, but it'll be considered something totally different. Photorealistic, every actor's performance now designed down to a gnat's ass to the point of not being able to tell the difference. Why does Drek like Boss Baby even get made strictly for money? I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of these movies. I mean, you could imagine that a good portion of movies fall under that criticism, though. I mean, nobody would be making these films if they didn't think that money was going to get made on them. Every once in a while, a movie company will take a risk. They'll gamble on something they're not sure is going to be popular. But for the most part, they're serving crowd pleaser shit. That's the sad thing about the state of movies, is that they're giving us what we want or what we're asking of them to the best of their ability. But yeah, most movies are made so that money can be made for somebody. Do you think Kevin Spacey can make a comeback? Probably. In a few years when this whole Wanglegate thing blows over. Why do shitty films always get sequels? Because those films are not like, if a shitty film gets a sequel, it means that the first film made a lot of money, which could raise the argument, well, then how could it be a shitty film? And the answer to that is that you just don't want what the rest of everybody else wants. I learned that, not for the first time in my life, but I had the lesson reinforced when TJ and I went and saw that Medea film. Boo, a Medea, Boo 2, a Medea Halloween, or whatever. Boo, a Medea Halloween 2, or whatever the fuck it was. And I walked into that going, man, nobody fucking comes to these. This is so lame, and it's fucking, like, how are these still being made, and blah, 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 blah. And I really did assume that he was just, like, marketing to this niche group of black people. And I found out that that theater had a bunch of people in it. Almost all of them were into it, like digging that fucking movie, like, whoa. So the answer to why does a shitty movie get a bunch of sequels is that that movie made a lot of money, and there were probably a lot of people that liked that shitty movie enough to go back and see another shitty version of it. I didn't like Medea. I felt about Medea exactly how I thought I was going to feel about Medea going into it, but I just wasn't really prepared for the audience. You saw Medea in an empty theater. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe that's a regional thing too. I don't know. But once again, every ass that was in the seats in that theater is not only a dollar made, but a future dollar invested, because most of those people are probably going to come back the next time there's a Medea movie. They were chuckling and laughing and having a good old time, man. Did you used to skate? I never skated myself. I hung out with a lot of people that did. The Pig Wheels beanie is I bought this hat a long time ago. Not this hat, but a Pig Wheels hat a long time ago. While I was in San Luis Obispo, I went into a little skate shop. I was there with a band that I was kind of roadieing for, and I needed a hat. I'd left my hat at home, and I saw this Pig Wheels hat, and I loved the little pig dude on it, and so I bought it, and I wore that hat every day of my life for like probably 8 or 9 years. Like, it was a crazy, well-loved hat. And then when it finally fell apart, I found these beanies. I ordered a couple of them, and I still wear them because I still like the little logo, and I've been doing it for so long. I don't know. It's just a comforting thing to me, I guess. Nope. This is the logo of a skate company that makes wheels. But you don't skate, Paul. Don't be a poser, dude. I don't give a fuck. You want to come and snatch the beanie off my head because I don't skate? Come do it. Otherwise, shut your fucking mouth. They should sponsor your fat ass. Yeah, dude. Come on, pig wheels. Been wearing your fucking merch in my fucking videos for years, man. Years. Never once did I get a call from Pig Wheels saying, Paul Zigo, make a commercial for us. If anything, Paul should get a vape sponsor. Yeah, there you go. When I vape Bubblicious Grape. Only Bubblicious Grape has that vape that I like to vape. How much do I have to donate for you to burn that hat and buy a new one so you can be fashionable? How much does a fashionable hat cost? Remember you being rightfully mad at Egghead for the first class airplane ride, but then forgiving him. But last I heard, you were mad again. What changed? It's not about, like, I forgive him for it. I'm not harboring some fucking horrible burning hatred for Egghead, but I just don't really want anything to do with the dude. Paul doesn't want to say Thundercats. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, faggot. Shoo. Have you ever smoked a strain called King Tut? Nope. Dickish thing to do in light of how many people would have loved to go. What? Oh, you're talking about Egghead's bullshit. Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's just a shitty thing to do. It's just a shitty fucking thing to do. It was a shitty decision for him to have made. If I were him, I would have done whatever it was that I could have to made sure that. And I mean, you know, that's the thing. Like, when I talk about this, I don't want to sound like self-aggrandizing or anything. That's not my intent. But, you know, Egghead was a fan of the show. And he was being offered by one of the dudes on the show to let him ride with him and his girlfriend from Texas into Louisiana for the meetup. And he instead chose to make a video pleading for people to donate money to him so he could get a plane ticket. And then bought a fucking nice fucking upgraded plane ticket with extra leg room and a nice little hotel on everybody else's fucking dime. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, like I said, I'm not trying, but like, that sounds like if I was a fan of a show and they were doing a meetup and I was going to it and one of the dudes that was on that show was like, hey man, I'll give you a ride. I'd have fucking done backflips to make that happen. And I just think it's because Egghead's not really a fan of the show. I think that Egghead was always about promoting Egghead. And that's my feelings on the matter. This was after the Galen episode? No, this was before the Galen episode. This was before the New Orleans meetup, which was 2 years ago now, almost. I mean, how did Egghead fuck up on that front? Like as far as like him promoting his show, if he would have developed good relationships with us, he probably would have received a lot more free promotion and a lot more positive free promotion on the show. Um, but because he made a bad impression on pretty much all of us, that he just remained kind of a meme. Last night, drunk TJ said Galen is annoying because he's overwhelming to be around. He is too loud and in your face. What say you? I don't know if TJ actually said those things. I would agree with some of those. I mean, Galen is pretty loud and in your face. He has this way of locking in a conversation with his stare, and it's very, very. I'm sure it's a skill he's honed. He will just zoop, and you're there. You're in it. I don't find that annoying about Galen, but TJ's been around Galen for a lot longer, so I won't put words in his mouth. TJ said Galen is stupid and annoying and he hates him. Well, TJ's pretty mean when he drinks, so I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock in that. Someone shit talking Galen in the chat and using TJ as a scapegoat. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Somebody trying to get me to say a bunch of mean things about Galen, but I don't have anything mean to say about Galen. I really like Galen. I like his stories. I like his perspective on things. I like the weird tangential conversations that happen around him. And he's a pretty good cook, too. So. I saw the stream. TJ didn't say Galen was annoying, but he said it can be overwhelming at times and makes him think too much. Yeah. Yeah, Galen encourages active participation in conversations. So it can be, if you're not in the mood to fully engage your brain, it can be kind of a frustrating conversation, I'm sure. Did Galen ever debate Howard Bloom? Man, I wanted to see that. I don't think that is ever going to happen, but we'll see, man. Who knows? Who knows? TJ said Galen is too present, like he's in your face, and then you turn around and he's still in your face, that sort of thing. I don't know that I've really gotten that feeling, but like I said, Galen does, when he's engaged in a conversation, it is very much happening, and you are kind of drawn into it by his personality and his speech patterns and the patented Galen gaze. DFF seems like it'd be a good format for debates. Would you be down for hosting one? It's not something that's like currently in the cards as far as like stuff we've planned, but I wouldn't be adverse to the idea of having one. I'm not real interested in ever being part of like a totally strict, rigid, moderated debate structure. I mean, that's really not my bag. But as far as like having two people with opposing viewpoints come on and duke it out, why the fuck not? I love how nothing from this chat can ever be taken seriously. Oh, you learn, dude. There are people constantly like it's so weird. It's kind of like a weird little lens into human sociology. It's like there's at least 10 or 15 people in here all the time that are constantly trying to bait me into talking about something where they hope I will say, like, reveal information or say something nasty about somebody that they can exploit. Like, they're constantly trying to catch me in a. So there's 10 or 15 people that show up to as many of these as they can to get me to say something that they hope will be personally damaging to me or somebody that I'm involved with, or damaging to my relationships with those people. That's ridiculous. Yeah, drama traps, exactly. So you got those landmines that you're always dancing around. Why don't I ban them? Because it doesn't matter. I mean, there's a dude in here that's got an infinite amount of fucking usernames that he uses to spam the N word constantly. And you ban one, and 15 seconds later, he's logged into another account. There he is. I've mentioned, say the word, and he appears. So, you know what I mean? So there's that guy. There are several of that type of guy. People that come in here and their entire intent is to spam pejoratives in the chat over and over and over again. So we've got the group of people trying to bait me into saying something negative about somebody that's going to harm my relationships with them or harm them in some way. The people that are spamming incessantly, hoping that I'll read some retarded comment that makes absolutely no sense or feed some dead meme. And I'm constantly weeding through that every night. And that's just two of the little factions that I've noticed in here. There's a bunch of others, you know. There's just a bunch of people. There's catfish and all kinds of crazy shit going on. Like, every once in a while, somebody with a chick avatar will show up and start talking about sex. And I'm just like, okay, so there's a catfish in the room now. You know what I mean? Like, just all of a sudden, there'll be just a broad with a generally attractive looking avatar going, you know what I really like is dick. And you're like, oh, okay. Catfish time. And maybe some of the chicks in here are actually chicks, but my brain, it's catfish city, dude. Paul, I will provide proof. Give me your personal email so I can send you nudes. But, you know, that's the other faction. I mean, there's a bunch of different ones. TJ told me he likes ween. Plus, Melon showed me chocolate and cheese. What? What's their best song? Ween's best song? I don't know, dude. Like I said, I don't really categorize things I like that way. But Chocolate and Cheese is a great album. The Mollusk is probably my favorite album of theirs. So, I hope I don't get lumped in with those people that try and get you to say, no, you don't, my friend. Don't worry about it. They know who they are out there. Do. Water Noodle Man sucking on a gas can. Do. With his right hand, he strokes his penile gland enlargement. Paul, have you ever been catfished or known someone who's gone through that shit? I actually kind of catfished an older chick. I've told that story before. Chick that I met on this thing called M-Player. M-Player was like one of the first voice over IP programs that was widely used. And there were fight rooms in there. People would make these rooms, and they were called fight rooms. And the whole point of that room was to go in there and just roast. Like you would roast people, just constantly roasting everybody. And, everybody was trying to be the best roaster in the room. And that was the whole point. And I'd go hang out in those and yell at people and have fun. And there was a chick in one of them who kind of distinguished herself as particularly quick-witted and vicious. And she and I kind of got into it a few times, and realized that we had a lot more in common than, not. And started kind of talking outside of that. Now, the problem with that is that I was 16 at the time that I met her, and she was 30 years old and married. But I didn't tell her the 16 part. I told her I was in my 20s, and it was definitely she. I was given videos, pictures, all, what do they call them in the joint? Cheesecake pictures, you know what I mean? She sent me just anything I asked her for, any kind of picture I wanted, her doing anything, whatever it was that I wanted, I got. Phone sex all the time, like into the fucking crazy wee hours of the morning. I would be up all goddamn night, having phone sex with this chick, and just talking. We'd talk, and then it would eventually turn into whatever phone sex shit, and then we'd keep talking and talking and talking. The sad thing about it was I really did like her as a person. I think we got along very, very well. And we had a lot in common. It was just we were very, very distant from one another in age, and I was not honest with her about my age. If I had been honest with her about my age, though, we never would have progressed to the point where, we would have had that kind of connection. I don't know. I don't know if fell in love is the right word for it. Because I spent a ton of time talking to this person, but it was an internet relationship, right? So it was never real. And when it started to get real is when shit went bad, How'd she not realize that you weren't an adult on the phone? Because my voice has sounded basically like it sounds now since the 6th grade. It might be a little more gravelly now on the other end of being a smoker. But as far as timbre goes, I've had a deep voice. I've had a voice like this since I was about, in the 6th or 7th grade. So, and I told her, I had a whole fucking story. I told her that, I was this 21-year-old living with my uncle in California, and kind of an aspiring musician going to school. Now, part of that was true. I was going to school. It was just high school. But, I had my cover story, and we spent more time talking about things than each other. And that's always a kind of a red flag in relationships. Even if you get along with somebody really well, if you're not getting to know one another personally, at least on a steady basis, then it's probably a big red flag. I would avoid talking about anything to do with family or friends or connections, because I realized that was like, you know what I mean? That's just an extra layer to the lie, right? I was already having to maintain these lies that I had told her, and I wanted those to be as broad and simple as possible, because the more you add to the fucking story, the more there is to fuck up. So maybe it was me that steered things away from that, but we got along really well. We had similar outlooks on life, and similar interests, similar musical tastes, despite the generational gap. I thought she was hot. She never saw me, so I don't know what she would have thought. What did she look like? I mean, she wasn't like a fucking supermodel, but she was kind of your average kind of girl next door looking, mousy brown hair. She was in decent shape, pretty face. I don't know. She wasn't, like I said, she wasn't like some Victoria's Secret model, but she was attractive, and her personality was amazing. You can confirm this story is false. You can say whatever you want, my friend. It's the absolute truth. How did it all fall apart? She started to, it went on for quite some time. I was 16 when we started, and I was probably getting close to 18 when things really came to a head and blew up. And I think she finally started to cop feelings for me in a way that she wanted to know more, and I was constantly evasive about my past and who I was, and she wanted to know more. And so she was able to find who the phone number that I had that I would use to talk to her was registered to, and it was registered to my dad. My dad has the same name that I have. So she had my name without knowing it. That whole bullshit had to get woven in. And then somehow she looked into other numbers under that name and found my dad's home phone number and called late at night looking for me, and the jig was up basically at that point, because multiple things about her reaching him and finding him there with me contradicted parts of my story, and the whole house of cards kind of collapsed. Interestingly enough, after that happened, we hooked up a few more times a few months down the line. So I eventually fessed up to her. She told me she didn't want to talk to me ever again. And then a few months down the line, we started seeing each other again, started talking again. And she basically gave me an ultimatum. She told me that she was going to be in a hotel room. She gave me the hotel, the address. It was in a coastal community a couple hours from where I lived. And she said, I'm going to be here at this hotel room, and if you show up, I'll know that this is real, and if you don't, I'll know it isn't. And I didn't show up, and that was the last time I ever heard from her. So kind of a fucked up story. In the midst of all that, I was way too young to appreciate that we had a genuinely good connection, and that it sucks that that had to be founded on a bunch of lies on my end of things. And it made me very cognizant going forward into relationships with women that I did not do that again, that I did not, you know, present myself in a way that was dishonest. Don't look her up. I wouldn't. I remember her name. I remember a lot of things about her. Like just personal details that she shared with me about her life. She had a husband. She was actually in the process of leaving her husband when she gave me the come to California ultimatum. Her husband was military, so the way that I would call her would be using his military calling card. She literally just read it out to me. I wrote it down on a piece of paper and kept it in the dresser drawer next to my phone. I don't know if her husband ever found out. I do know that her relationship crumbled. And it was not long after that she gave, like I said, she had family, I think, in California somewhere, and she was staying in a hotel 2 hours from where she knew I was. And so pretty soon after but the relationship, clearly she was talking to me for a significant amount of time, was not great. It's really fucked up from her part. It's fucked up on both of our parts. So maybe I was her karma. But I don't like having been that either. I've told Ashley's heard this story before. It's lucky you weren't old enough to hook up with her. You wouldn't be here streaming to us. The whole world would be different. I mean, who knows, dude? It's one of those things, you know? Because like I said, and we really did have a lot in common. It wasn't just like there was like an attraction there, obviously, but we had a lot in common. She was a very nice person, very cool, very intelligent, knew a lot about music and liked to talk about esoteric things, and it was a great conversationalist, and she was great, you know, a good catch for any dude. But why you not go? Because I was a teenager. Do you regret any of your actions? I try not to get caught up in regret, but you know, are there things that I wish that I could have done differently? Yes. Is that the same thing as regret? I don't think so. I'm not tortured by those things. I try and use those things as learning opportunities. If you undo all your mistakes, you wouldn't be the person that you are. That's true to a certain extent. What if she was luring you to the hotel to have her husband beat your ass? I mean, that's a total possibility. Either way, nobody's ass got beat. Just some hurt feelings. How's my gooch? My gooch is okay. Thanks. How's your gooch, dude? I would have tamed that cougar for some Bitcoin. Regret is part of learning and maturing as a person. Sure. I just don't hold on to it. I try and eventually learn to let it go. And I think that that's part of the learning process as well. You missed a super chat from someone asking if you DFF Dragon Ball Z. Maybe. It's a possibility, my friend. Yeah, go beat off, Casey. Get out of here and go beat off. Shoo! Why are people always bursting your balls? I don't know, man. That is true, though. People are always trying to bust my fucking balls. That is so true. But, Paul, when you were in high school, were you an awkward dork? Be honest. Kinda. I was an awkward dork, but I was lucky enough to be involved in something awkward and dorky that wasn't considered awkward and dorky at my school, which was theater. If I had not been in that class, I would have been a totally awkward dork my entire high school experience. But because I was involved in the theater program at my school, and for whatever reason, my little school had a great fucking theater teacher, one of the best teachers, if not probably the best teacher I ever had, and maybe the best teacher in that district to this day. She still works there. But a teacher named Ginger Latimer, who was like a mentor to me when I was younger. And because of my involvement in theater, I was a more outgoing person, a more sociable person, had a whole lot more friends, got invited to parties, and got a pretty normal high school experience out of the deal. We was just busted your balls, poly boom bots. What was high school like in the 90s? I mean, it's hard to answer that question. There's not really a paragraph that I could give you that would encapsulate what I mean, I guess maybe it's a lot like the way it is now, but without cell phones, which means it's totally different. I mean, without cell phones, people were kind of forced to converse a lot more, I think. And the worst thing that you could possibly have happen to you in high school was to be like alone and have nobody to talk to. Some people sought out that kind of solitude in high school, but really just like meeting up with your friends at lunch and, breaks and shit and in between classes was all you had. So socializing was pretty much everything, but direct socializing with your peer group, not this kind of broader online shit. What do you think a life of a chat spammer is like? Seems dark, bleak, and dreary. I don't know. It's one of those things like you wish you could answer that. You wish you could kind of see that dude's life. Not necessarily to intervene in any way, but just to have knowledge of like, okay, so that's what that dude's doing. We need the central scrutinizer, dude, from Joe's Garage. I am the central scrutinizer. Why do you think so many people have fallen for this SJW red herring to the extent that they're completely ignore right wingers now? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a total red herring. I think that the SJW mindset is something that needs to be discussed and talked about and debated. So I see value in people pointing out the inconsistencies in it because it's going to have a major effect on everything in our lives. This is a big movement that has its claws into entertainment and music and all of these things that are used to shape public opinion. So it's an important topic. So I think your classification of it as a red herring is wrong. Now, why were people willing to accept? I mean, just to a certain extent, right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and I think that that's where it started. I think it started with like, okay, well, I'm a left-leaning guy, but this new social justice shit is bullshit. And look, here's this, intelligent, well-spoken right-wing dude who's doing the same kind of shit. Yeah, yay for him. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't think that disagreeing on one thing or even a broad bunch of things politically means that you shouldn't listen to and appreciate the things that you agree with in your opponent. But for some reason, it seems to have led people down a rabbit hole of like, well, maybe that means conservatism was right. It's like, no, that doesn't follow. That just doesn't follow to me. Authoritarianism is the issue, maybe. But good luck getting people to talk about the broader underlying parts of a problem. Looking at the big picture is not something that most human beings are altogether too good at, myself included. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies, tell me lies. Oh, no, no, you can't disguise. Gazer Fist. Are we talking about Razor Fist now? Like, why is Razor Fist being discussed? Gazer Fist, yeah. It's this SJW crap that makes me hesitant to call myself a liberal, even though that's what I am. I know it's dumb, but that's how it is, unfortunately. Wow. I mean, you can be a leftist and not an SJW, though. And you walking away from being a leftist and refusing to stand your ground as a leftist who just disagrees with being an SJW are kind of solidifying their position as the new left, aren't you? You might want to rethink that position. You might want to just unabashedly say what you are and fight for your position within the left. Because if you just walk away from it and go, you know what, man, I don't even want to call myself part of the left, then you're basically handing over you're handing the fucking trophy to the SJWs and going, okay, well, you're the left now. You go ahead and be the left. No thanks. I think there's a lot of fruitful policy on the left, and I'm not willing to hand it over to a bunch of raving fucking social justice, race baiting, identity politics retards. Sorry. Not going to do it. SJWs have more in common with the right wing than we think. They're so authoritative. Well, yeah, I mean, it's that whole, you go far enough to the left and you start to become indistinguishable from the far right and vice versa. I mean, there is definitely a place where the political left and the right meet and intersect, and have lots and lots of bleed over, and it's mostly at the extreme end of the curve. Would you cuck Brett? No.